In this video I'm going to be showing you how you can easily grant external clients and hosts access to your local area network through the ASA. So we're going to be using the IPsec VPN wizard for this. So you go to wizards up the top, VPN wizards and IPsec remote access VPN wizard. Then here we're going to choose what interface the IPsec should terminate on. So normally it's going to be your outside interface, the public facing interface. And then we're going to just leave these items as a default. So you're going to, what this says is you're going to need the Cisco VPN client, which is downloadable from cisco.com, release 3 or higher, version 3 or higher. Authentication method, so you can use a certificate, but the easiest way obviously is just use a pre-shared key. So I'm just going to put password. It's not very secure. You should use a more secure password in your production environments. Tunnel group name, this can be anything, so we're just going to call it remote access _ VPN. And then we're going to authenticate using the local user database. So I've already got a user there, or I can add one in. So if I just do VPN test and password again, password, and add that to the local user database. And then it's going to ask you to choose what pool of addresses should be assigned to remote hosts. So you can either create a new one and use an existing one. I'll quickly run through a new one. So it's just going to ask you a name, starting IP address, ending IP address, blah blah blah. Something to ask, you know what to do there. So just click next, and then for hosts that dial in, what DNS server, what domain should they be assigned to? Just click next, and then here you're going to select which networks should be exposed to your external client or host, whether they remote access in. Don't worry too much about this part because we can do this in a second. We can modify this in a second. So you can leave it blank to expose all networks, but if you had split tunneling on, then you'd have to choose what networks you wanted to expose to them. Split tunneling just allows hosts to still use their local gateway when they're external to your local area network. It allows them to use their gateway at the same time using the VPN tunnel to communicate with the LAN inside of the ASA. So I'm just going to leave that unchecked for the moment. Next, and then it's going to show you what it's going to do. So it's going to VPN tunnel interface. Where the IPsec terminates on is outside. IPsec authentication method is pre-shared key, and it's going to be password. The tunnel group name, which you need to take note of when you enter it into the Cisco VPN client. Default group policy, that's going to tell us what group policy it's creating for to assign different permissions and attributes to the VPN. It's using the local user database, as we said before. New user created rather, and the pool of address it's going to use is that pool. Primary and secondary DNS, domain name, internal network elements exposed, any network, split tunneling is disabled, perfect forward secrecy is enabled. I finish, send that. Okay, so now if we go to remote access VPN and configuration and then network client access, IPsec, we should see our group policy here, so RA VPN. So now what we want to do is we want to limit what those hosts can access when they're VPN'd in to the network. So if we go to group policies and we can see our RA VPN there, click edit and then more options, and then untick inherit from IPv4 filter, and then we're going to manage that, and we're going to extended ACL, and we're going to go down to our this is from a previous configuration, so I'm just going to delete that quickly. I can't delete that. So okay, so if you were starting from scratch, you would just go click add ACL and then add ACL name. So just do whatever you want, remote access VPN access. So add access control entry, and I'm going to say the source is from, what we're going to do is we're going to quickly add a object named RAVPN hosts, and we're going to do 10.10.10.160 to 10.10.10.165, which was our DHCP pool view, remember. It already exists, so there we go, 10.10.10.160 to 165. So I'm just going to choose that, okay, and the destination is going to be just a random address, 10.10.10.254, for instance. You can, because it's an extended access list, you can choose what protocol. So we could just say that they're allowed to, I don't know, they're allowed to SSH into that IP. You can log it, enable login, and you can even apply a time range to that ACL, but we don't want to because we're going to do time-based access somewhere else. So we okay that. So now when hosts dial in, they'll be subject to that access list, and if you recall access list, you will know that by default there is an implicit deny all, to deny any. So that is remote access VPN hosts, that 10.10.10.160 to 165, or whatever you chose for your remote access pool, to this address using SSH, and that's it. So the implicit deny any sorts the rest of the access out, just straight denies it. And if you wanted to use IPv6, the same process applied. Okay, so say we want to restrict the access hours of the VPN hosts, remote access hosts. We could do that easily if we untick inherit rather, manage, and then add a new time range, and then we just call it RAVPN and recurring time range, and we could say they're allowed on weekdays, and they can access from 5 o'clock to almost midnight. So okay that. So then we've said there, basically what I did is said that the remote access can access weekdays only, Monday to Friday, from 5 o'clock to 12 o'clock at night. Obviously, ASA needs to have some sort of time synchronization there, either with an NTP client or you set the time manually. Preferred option is probably NTP client to your local time zone. Otherwise, you know, the access hours just goes at the feature just goes out the window. So okay that, and apply that. You can see all the code it's going to do, and that's pretty much it. What you'll need to do now is you'll need to go and test it with a Cisco V. Actually, no, sorry, I've got one thing. Firewall NAT rules. So here we can see that the remote access VPN has created a NAT rule. Sometimes I've noticed that it gets, depending on your configuration, it gets, you know, it doesn't quite do the NAT rules properly. So just delete the one it creates. Then we're going to add another NAT rule in. So when the source interface is any and the destination interface is any, and the source address is remote access VPN hosts, you don't want to NAT it. You want no NAT. So the destination address is, say, your inside hosts. You don't want a NAT. So what you want to do is you want to say source address is original and the destination address is original. Apply that, send that. So when the source address is VPN host and destination is inside host, it's not going to NAT. It's going to leave everything as it was originally. When the source address is the inside host and it's going towards VPN host, it's going to leave everything as it was originally. So I hope you found this video informative. Please leave comments and feedback below. And if you've got any requests, just email, just comment on my channel or leave a comment. Thank you.